Okay, thank you very much. Now, well done, everybody. I hope that what you got out from that was a lot of stuff was done this year. And can we give all the workstream leads and the engineers who've worked there a big round of applause? Now, we have 10 minutes for questions. Could I ask all the speakers to come up and arrange themselves somehow in these over here? We will take questions. Actually, probably the most important thing is to be able to recognize these people's faces and get them over lunch and ask your questions. Because I'm sure there are many detailed questions. I guess you can sit down if you want to, but I know it's not going to work, is it? We've got a scaling issue. Yeah. If anybody wants to sit down, perfect. So if there are burning questions, do ask them. Right at the back there. Yes, please.
Hi,
Yeah.
Ellie McDonough from Genomics England. Sorry. Was
That's
it
okay.
someone
I
else?
had two backs. I don't even know where I'm looking now. Oh, yeah, perfect. Okay, and then we'll go to you. Perfect.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So I've got a question for Beacon, Cafe Variome, and Variant Matcher. One, do you have plans where you could submit a VCF file or a list of variants? And two, do you support structural variants, CNVs, SDRs? And also, how are you guys all working together to kind of combine efforts? Because you're doing quite similar things. Thank you.
Who wants to take that? Marc? Well, there's a kind of cafe. It's a search API question. Okay. All right. Do they switch on? Switch them on. Press the button or come here.
Yeah, so we do support structural variations in the latest version of the API, and
Great.
we don't yet support the ability to upload a variant, although that can be something that, or a VCF file, but that can be something that can programmatically run.
Oh, great, great.
And for the search API, where is Harindra? Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
We were just discussing that in our meeting in the morning. The API allows for it, but neither one of the databases that are connected right now supports CNV's search.
Right, great.
I think if we can just do single variants, we'll win.
Cafe Variome already can handle all the things you said. The thing is now extending the search API so that we can all do those things as in a federated manner.
Great, brilliant,
I
thank
can add to
you.
that too for the last part of the question. In terms of Beacon and search API, Marc and I were chatting about this in the morning as well. At some point, we're all going to use the Dury authentication system. So the idea is once you get the library card, you can effortlessly move across all the networks. So that's the idea long term.
Great, thank you.
Question at far back now, yes.
All right, great. Awesome presentations, by the way. I'm going to ask two questions because I didn't go first. It's only fair, right? The first question is the data use ontology. There was a mention of data access afterwards. Is that the same thing? So I needed some clarification on that. So just to make sure that there's like only one ontology for data use. And the second question I have is for the data ontology. Are there any definitions for clinical use cases?
Okay. Moran.
Great question. So thank you for that. So the data use ontology is trying to enable three things: tagging data sets. The second thing, which is our main focus at the moment, is discovery. And then if we'll actually show that you can implement good algorithms for discovery, we can then move to support data access. Now, irrespective from GA4GH, I can wear my everyday work hat, and I can tell you that we actually have a service that is piloting the concept of automating data access. So we have a service like that. It's called Duos, and I can tell you about it later. And there, basically, what we're trying to do is adopt this ontology and an algorithm and see whether the system will do the same thing as a access committee, and we're running it in parallel. So every time a request comes in, there's a committee of people and the algorithm running. So I think that's a longer term. The key component for enabling that is actually the library card and the data access passport work. Because to fully get automated access, the key thing is that you will need to know who is the person who is requesting access in an automated fashion without reviewing them. As for the second question with regards to clinical terms, so they're not currently included inside the version 2 of the ontology. This is work that we're about to do this year, so we would love contribution and understanding your use case better. Thank you.
And I think a really important thing coming out of all of this is that we really do have the technology to federate here identity, access, authentication, and the data sets. And I think we need to expose this ability to more of our governance processes to get our governance processes comfortable with the idea that this is an appropriate thing to do. Because I can foresee our next problem is persuading people, having got all the technology in place, persuading people that we should be using the technology in these scenarios, probably with a lot of piloting and a lot of testing. Melanie, you want to add something as well?
A small thing I wanted to add with respect to the clinical related part of the question. One thing we didn't really have the time to talk about in this presentation is DUO is obviously the data use ontology developed by the jury workstream, but it's not a standalone project. As I very briefly mentioned, we're also following best practices. We're part of a larger consortium of ontology developers, and we have other resources we can interoperate with that describe clinical condition, diagnosis, and so on and so on. So it's all it's all been made in a very interoperable fashion, but we do welcome specific use cases. If you have them, that would be really tremendously helpful.
Okay, that's great. Last question before lunch, over there.
Hi there. Ooh, that's loud. This question is for Kyle. Yes, Kyle Farr. Yeah, you. I haven't seen a GitHub repo for Caselog. Will Caselog be made available open source?
We're working on at least open sourcing kind of the external UI and algorithmic part. It's something that we're working on right now, and we feel like that would certainly be advantageous for getting community adoption.
Okay. And again, another comment here: what's open are the interfaces and the way we interoperate. I think it's up to everybody's decision about whether they open source or not the implementation. You do not have to open source your implementation to use GA4GH APIs. Okay, that is wonderful. Let's give these speakers another round of applause. Okay, I'm sure you all want some nice food, which is outside. Capture these guys and ask them questions out for lunch. Well done. Really well done, guys.